2024 was a record year for biopharma, but not for the reason you think. Let's dig into the numbers. The FDA greenlit 57 new therapeutics this year. That's on par with the decade's average. But one number has plummeted off a cliff. Projected peak sales, just $60 billion. For context, pre-IRA years, we regularly saw 100B plus for new drugs. So what gives? Why the steep divergence? It's a tale of two Americas, the pre-IRA world and the new reality. First, the old, big pharma thrived on certainty. Blockbuster drugs for chronic diseases like diabetes or CVD were golden. The ROI on R&D was measured in decades, not years. So pharma happily doled out billions in investment. Then came the inflection point, the day the hard rules of the IRA became undeniable. No more projecting massive revenues from chronic disease drugs. The first 10 drugs selected for mandatory price negotiations in 2023 are now measurably changing R&D strategies. Look at the numbers. Chronic disease drugs, which used to attract 40% of all R&D spend pre-IRA, now account for just 15% of planned investment according to Pharma's own disclosures. Small molecules like diabetes drugs face a 9-year ROI window versus 13 years for biologics like Ozempic and Wegovy. In other words, Pharma can still make money on these, but they have to move fast. Hence the pivot to niche-ification, oncology, rare diseases and CNS areas with longer exclusivity and less IRA exposure. On the other hand, oncology drugs now represent 55% of 2024 approvals. But there's more evidence of this shift. Let's look at the type of drugs approved. Only 2 out of 57 were for mass-market chronic conditions like diabetes and obesity. For perspective, that's less than 5% versus over 8% per year pre-IRA. Oncology approvals alone account for nearly half of all new drugs. So what does this mean for patients and for investors? Well, patients will still get innovative new therapies, but the pipeline has visibly shifted. Looking ahead to 2025, the IRA-proof pipeline takes shape. Oncology's dominance deepens, with 30-plus pivotal readouts expected next year. Rare disease gold rush continues, with over 40% of Phase 3 assets targeting ultra-orphan indications. NFL inhibitors, gene therapies, cell therapies, and mRNA-LNPs are all designed to treat diseases with less than 50,000 patients. Big Pharma is leading this charge. Both Merck and Novo disclosed that 60% plus of their R&D budgets are now dedicated to oncology and rare diseases. So the bottom line, 2024 wasn't a down year for pharma. It was the year that pharma played the long game, the year they adapted to hard rules. The IRA's shadow is now quantifiable, and the industry is reorganizing around policy-proof science. The question for investors is, how will your portfolio companies navigate this brave new world? Which diseases, geographies, and modalities are poised to thrive? And which players have the nimbleness to execute in a post-IPA world? Those who adapt will win. Stay tuned for our deep dive series on the top trends shaping 2025. What will it take to thrive in the new biopharma landscape? What are the winning strategies? Stay tuned. This is our channel.